What is going on, Chicago Bear fans? Today we're going to analyze the tape of the Chicago Bears offensive line. We're going to watch a little bit of what the first team unit did against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Bears went out there with the starting unit. The only guy that did not play was Joe Thuney at the left guard position. Instead, it was Luke Newman that ended up starting at left guard. Other than that, you got the first team offense out there, and holy shit, man, did this Bears offense impress. And I'm not shocked, right? I've spoken about this in the past when you hired Ben Johnson, who at this point is the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. He's the best play caller. His route concepts, the spacing, the way he's able to install his play, it's absolutely elite. When you hire that guy, you're going to have success. And I'm not surprised Caleb Williams came out here and just straight up dominated. Caleb Williams looks to me like he's, top 5 quarterback. At least in yesterday's game, he showed that. Now, have to go out there and continue to prove himself, of course. But he looked really, really, really good yesterday. He was comfortable as hell. And even more than that, man, some of these offensive linemen looked absolutely incredible out there. Drew Dalman had multiple good blocks. Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright looks like he's kind of taking that next step. I know some people are out on Braxton Jones. I'm not 100% out on him. I don't think the Bears need to 100% replace him right now. I do think at some point you do look to replace Braxton, but it would not be wise at this point to put in a rookie. Now, I do think Ozzie and even Theo have a ton of upside, and there's a chance those guys, one of them could potentially develop as the left tackle. I think for the Bears to have success this season, the best thing they can do is go with Braxton Jones. Only because the guy's played almost 3,000 snaps in the NFL, and he's had a lot of success, and he still has a lot of success, right? Not every single snap that Braxton Jones plays is a losing snap. A lot of this guy's snaps are snaps like this, where he goes up against the Buffalo Bills starting edge player. And AJ Espinoza is the only guy that's going to start for the Bills that kind of played out here. And I didn't feel like Braxton Jones did an absolute terrible job. He did have 1 or 2 losing snaps. We will get into those snaps. But let's just break down some of what we're seeing out here. So keep an eye here on Darnell Wright. Phenomenal rep in pass pro. Gets right on top of Landon Jackson. Is going to end up throwing a ghost rush. Gets on top of him and then straight up crushes him. Puts his ass into the ground. In my opinion, Darnell Wright looks really, really good with the movement. He looks really good with the footwork, the technique. Notice the ghost move here by Darnell Wright. Throws that right hand up there. Makes contact with Landon Jackson. Try snatching him down. The defensive end doesn't necessarily fall into the dirt. But because he's off balance, Darnell Wright's going to end up putting his ass into the ground. Just a phenomenal job, in my opinion, right there by Darnell Wright. Now, another thing you're going to kind of see on this play is like the veteranness of Drew Dalman and Jonah Jackson. Keep an eye here on number 73. 73 is going to block the 3 technique. And look at how he lets go of this guy to help Darnell Wright. And he understands that I'm going to let this guy go, and Drew Dalman's going to just pick his ass up, right? To me, that's an interesting play. But again, it is a slide to the right, so you understand that Drew Dalman's going to be able to kind of help you out. And Jonah Jackson expects it, just lets his defensive tackle go help Darnell Wright out over there. But Darnell obviously was able to handle the defensive end on this one. But again, just kind of goes to show the Bears offensive line is definitely revamped. And yes, at some point they can upgrade that left tackle position. But from left guard to right tackle, this offensive line is very, very, very solid. Now, of course, Thuney did not play, so it's just something to kind of keep an eye on. But Luke Newman looks pretty damn good in himself. And, we'll watch some of these plays as well. This is 2nd and 4. You're actually going to get an offensive holding penalty called on this one. This is a weak side zone run. So, strong sides to the right. They end up running this to the left. And I like these run concepts, to be 100% honest with you. I think running to the weak side, when you have guys like Drew Dalman, when you have guys like Luke Newman, and what I mean by that is this. This is going to be an inside zone run towards the left. Braxton Jones is going to seal his guy outwards, and then Drew Dalman is good enough to reach the 1 technique. And then if Luke Newman can block his guy either outwards, or if the linebacker ends up jumping to the inside, Dalman can then just block him out downwards essentially. That gives the running back the lane. Running to the weak side only makes sense if you have a good center, which obviously the Chicago Bears have in Drew Dalman. But on this one here, although Dalman does reach the 1 technique here, if the running back was able to squeeze this to the left somehow, and I understand this is a very, very difficult thing to do, the lane's not really there for the running back to be able to squeeze this into one of these gaps, and bending it back towards the inside puts Drew Dalman in a bad situation. Of course, keep in mind, this is a zone run towards the left. So Dalman's block here is a reach block on the 1 technique. His job is to get in front of this guy. And he actually does do that. He does a really good job being able to kind of get in front of him. But again, the running back ends up bending this back towards the right. and Drew Dalman ends up just getting caught holding. Not a huge deal. Obviously, the running back on this one ends up bending it back to the inside. Not even a terrible block by Dalman. He does his job technically. Let's go ahead and get into this next snap here. You got a 2nd and 14, and Ben Johnson is going to design a really, really nice concept. You're going to pick up 18 yards on this one. The fact that Ben Johnson's able to design these type of concepts, and I want you guys to watch this play in slow motion. And I think about the pieces that are kind of happening. You're going to get a wide receiver to run a wheel. You're going to get a post route on top of that. You're going to have the slot wide receiver essentially stop himself about 5 yards there. And this route here is going to actually suck in these 2 linebackers. The post route's going to take this safety with them. And of course, you're going to run the Loveland on a dig route, and he's going to be wide open because these linebackers essentially are going to get sucked inwards. This is a phenomenal route concept. Look at the spacing on this play, right? Just a really, really nice job. It's all well thought out. You have the post, you have the wheel, you have the route sucking in these linebackers, you hit it right over the top of that. It doesn't get better than that right there. That's how you design a legit concept to get guys open. 2nd and 14, right after that holding play. Really, really, really nice job by the quarterback as well to be able to kind of get the ball out. You also notice that on this play, the offensive linemen are going to do a really good job being able to kind of keep it clean. I go back to Braxton Jones because a lot of people have been super, super negative about Braxton Jones. And it's not perfect. He still has losing reps. You know, not every team is going to have 2 all-pro caliber offensive tackles. Darnell Wright, to me, is an all-pro caliber offensive tackle, right? He's a guy that's going to be at some point a top 10 guy at that position. Braxton Jones might not ever be that, but if Braxton Jones can be in the top half of the league, right? If he can be, you know, a top 40 tackle, I think that's still a really good spot, given he was a late round pick. And we'll just keep an eye on him this season and see how he kind of ends up. Another really good rep here by the left guard and the center. Left guard's going to have a true one-on-one with the long 3 technique. And look at him. Get his hands right onto this guy. Perfect with the hand placement. Absolutely love this. So left hand's going to end up landing to the shoulder pad. Right hand's going to end up landing right to the inside chest plate. Phenomenal job here by Luke Newman. This guy looks really, really good. And I think the Bears might have something in terms of long-term development at that guard position. A guy that can play swing guard. He might be able to play a little bit of center as well. Really, really nice job by him. You see the center, right guard, right tackle pick up the 2. They're going to slide to the right. Jackson has his guy, kind of lets him go to Drew Dalman. Darnell Wright kind of just shuts down his guy by himself as well. Just a phenomenal job, man. Look at the footwork here. You got a guy essentially lined up in that wide 9, a guy that's going to try to speed rush, try to beat you upfield. And again, Wright just straight up beats this guy with the ghost move, locks in, anchors down. And that pocket right there is really, really, really clean. You got a 1st and 10 on this one. This is still obviously the very first drive. This is about the 8th play of the game here. You're going to pick up 5 yards running towards the left. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and get into this 2nd and 5 play. This was the play in which the Buffalo Bills basically bring everybody. It's a cover 1. They end up blitzing a bunch of guys. And they're going to actually generate pressure on the quarterback. Now, some people believe this here was on the right tackle to pick up that safety number 3. The thing is this play is a play action pass. And with that, offensive linemen are tasked to jump set. Darnell Wright, I'm not sure if there's something for him where he could jump set towards the safety, but I don't think that's how this play is designed. This play is designed for these guys to double team, right? It's essentially designed to mimic a run concept. The point is you want to try to suck these linebackers in and then run wide receivers right behind those guys. And the one thing this play is not really designed for is guys to potentially blitz. Now, I don't know if there's a possibility of Darnell Wright stepping out here towards the right, or for 85 to take the guy to the inside as opposed to the guy to the outside. I'm not sure what the rules are within Ben Johnson's scheme, but you know, you can't just go out there and freestyle. You have to do what the play kind of calls for. And on this play here, there just might not be a guy that's tasked to block the safety. So this is something for the Bears to kind of think about as they go forward. If we're going to play action and we're going to jump set our offensive linemen, could we, instead of having them double team here, maybe jump out to the safety? Another thing to kind of know is if this was an actual run play, let's say this was a duo towards the left, the double team would actually be from here to 44 and then from here to the linebacker there. And then you'd get a block outwards here, a block outwards here. And again, no one would actually block the safety. He would be unblocked if this was duo. Now, the only potential thing I can see on this play would be the tight end maybe jumps and picks up this guy as opposed to the guy to the right. But either way, it's a hard play to really understand unless you're in the room. Whose responsibility number 3 is. I'm going to just come out and say that I think the Buffalo Bills ended up just calling the perfect play against that certain offensive call. Regardless of that, not a huge deal. Very next play, you got a 3rd and 5. And you're going to get a 36-yard touchdown pass on this one. Phenomenal pass by the quarterback, and even better after the catch by Zacchaeus. I mean, phenomenal job by the wide receiver here. Just a really, really nice play. And you got to give the quarterback a ton of credit because, a lot of people were down on Caleb Williams. A lot of Bears fans were talking crap about this guy just as recently as like a week and a half ago. And this guy came out and not only shut up Bears fans, but, the national media, right? Everybody that was talking negatively about this guy, he's basically come out there and at least in this preseason game has proven all these guys. He's at least shown that, hey, the Bears might be a serious offense this season. All those weapons, the revamped offensive line, what Ryan Poles has kind of done with his team, it's been really, really, really good. And we'll just see how the Bears kind of finish this season. But a nice job by the offensive lineman once again. A really, really good job by Darnell Wright. You're going to see him with the heavy hands. The hands are going to land perfectly to number 94. No ghost move, just straight up double hand punch this guy. And he doesn't lean forward. I remember when Darnell Wright double hand punched in his rookie season, he would lean a little bit with that double hand punch. And that's not happening at this point. He's keeping his foundation. He's keeping that base. And he's getting those hands right to this defensive end. And he's shutting him down. That's a really, really good job right there by Darnell Wright. Braxton Jones also does a nice job. He has a wide 9 out there. AJ Espinoza is going to try to double hand swipe. And Braxton Jones is not going to end up losing this rep. And he doesn't fall forward or anything like that. He does a great job with his base on this one. I mean, this is a phenomenal job by Braxton Jones. And again, this is why I think Braxton Jones should be the starting left tackle for the Bears this season. He's going to throw a punch. He's going to get swiped. The feet are in a really good spot. He doesn't lean forward. He just readjusts those hands, stays right on top of the defensive end. Hands get right back to the defensive end. He shuts it down. Does not get better than that right there by Braxton Jones. Phenomenal rep by him. The interior offensive linemen do a good job as well. There's a couple double teams in between there. That's a really, really good first drive for the Bears. Now, after that touchdown drive, the Bears' first team unit came out for one more drive, 7 more snaps. And this drive wasn't great. They had a couple of drops on this one, and they ended up punting the football. But I want to talk about this drive a little bit as well, because there's some good, there's some bad. Now, there's going to be some miscommunication on this one. It looks like duo, so you're going to get a double team here up to the linebacker, double team here. And I believe it should go up to number 44, but, based off where 44 is lined up right now, and then post-snap, the linebacker is going to kind of creep over here. You're going to actually get Darnell Wright and Drew Dalman to basically take this linebacker. Now, keep an eye on Drew Dalman as well as Darnell Wright. Both guys are going to kind of end up on the same linebacker. So, there's some miscommunication on this one. I'm not 100% sure what happens. I'm going to make the assumption the right tackle should have probably went out towards number 44 because 44 blows this play up. Right? 44 ends up going unblocked. He jumps the gap. He's one of the guys that kind of gets in there. So, that's just some coaching points where guys got to kind of get on the same page. And this is the point of preseason. It's a whole new offensive coordinator. It's a whole new offensive play design. Scheme. You just got to kind of understand all the little things that go into it. You got to practice these plays. This is the point of preseason, right? You're going to get better by taking these live reps and being able to kind of practice it. Not a huge deal, right? You got a run that's not great on this one. Only picks up about 2 yards. And then you got another one. This is going to be the second play of the second drive. Now, this one's not blocked terribly, but you are going to get a hold by the 3 technique. He's going to end up grabbing on to the right guard and right tackle. It's kind of hard to see from here, but he ends up hooking onto the tackle, and the tackle's not able to kind of get off that block. It is a power run concept, and the tackle should technically reach up to the linebacker, but you're going to see the tackle's arm here is going to be hooked in. Keep an eye on here on the right tackle. He's trying to let go right here. You can see his arm's kind of hooked in right there. He's unable to grab on to number 44, who kind of gets in there and blows the play up. You'll also see one other guy kind of get in there. And I believe it's this guy here that's being blocked by Loveland. He's got to do a little bit of a better job on that block as well. Not a huge deal. You still pick up about 3.5 yards on this one. And then on 3rd and 5, you're going to get a really, really nice pass by Caleb Williams. Perfect pass to DJ Moore. This one's absolutely on point. Even the route by DJ Moore, really good job when he hits that break, generates that separation. You know, the connection between DJ Moore and Caleb Williams this year is going to be absolutely incredible. Same with Adunze. I'm really excited to watch what this guy can kind of do this season. Luther Burden was one of my favorite wide receivers coming out this past class. I'm excited as hell to watch this Bears offense, man. I really do think they're going to be a really, really good unit. Let's talk a little bit about this. So let's talk a little bit about the protection here. This is going to be a 6-man protection. You're going to slide to the left. 70 is going to take the defensive end. Newman's going to take 44. Center is going to take the long one technique. The running back has to step in here and take on the linebacker. And the running back's going to do a phenomenal job. Right guard, right tackle. Really good job by the offensive lineman. Now, Braxton Jones does lose this block. This is going to be the only block he really loses. Keep an eye on Braxton Jones first and foremost. This is the same way Braxton Jones lost, if you guys remember last week. We broke down Braxton Jones's tape. He had one losing snap that we kind of got into. That was not the sack. It was a different play. I think the quarterback ended up taking a hit on that one. He got beat to the inside, right? He's trying to get into his vertical set. A guy kind of hesitates to the outside, hits him with an inside move. This is something Braxton Jones has to work on. And I think what's happening with Braxton Jones is, you know, he's trying to beat these guys to the landmark. He's trying to get vertical, and he doesn't protect the inside. You got to be able to utilize that right hand and stop those inside moves. And right now, Braxton Jones is continuing to struggle with this. And having these losing snaps is not the end of the world, right? And I just want to kind of put that out there. Having losing snaps does not mean that, hey, you should not be a starter. Truth be told, if Ozzy Trapilo was out there with the first team unit, if Theo Benedict was out there with the first team unit, they would have these same losing snaps that Braxton Jones is having, if not even potentially more, right? We don't really know, right? Having, you know, playing against guys that are backups versus guys that are starters, there is a big difference between that, right? So, you know, I'm not 100% saying that I think Braxton Jones is like the next all-pro caliber tackle, but I still think for the Bears right now, Braxton Jones makes the most sense. I think he gives you the most experience, and, you know, you never want to make the switch away from a guy like Braxton Jones to a rookie or a second-year player. And then, you know, that guy potentially struggles a little bit, right? Also, phenomenal rep here by number 35. I mean, look at this. Steps up, takes the linebacker, and straight up shuts his ass down. That is an absolute phenomenal job right there. And all the guys kind of do a good job, right? You got a lot of single blocks. Right guard, right tackle are going to have to process the defensive line. Jonah Jackson, to me, phenomenal offensive lineman. He was one of the best guards like 3 years ago. And, you know, some injuries kind of slowed him down a little bit, but the guy's still super smart, and you can see it on these type of plays. So you're going to get the defensive line game, but Jackson's going to go right into this long 3 technique. And look at him pass it off to Darnell Wright. Like, it does not get better than that right there. Phenomenal job by those two guys to be able to kind of swap on that one. 3rd and 5, true pass rushing situation. Really good job handling the defensive line game. So you got 3 final plays left that we're going to break down. These are going to all be incomplete passes. You can see here, first incomplete pass goes to the running back. No one's open downfield. Quarterback just kind of throws it away. Now, this is a 7-step drop out of 12 personnel. Really, really interesting concept. You know, all of these offensive linemen have their hands in the ground, and then your quarterback's going to take 7 steps in his drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a deep-ass drop right there, man. That is hard for these tackles to be able to get that far wide, right? But the pocket's generally clean. Darnell Wright does end up losing this one. It's a little late, but it is still a losing rep. Number 56 here is going to end up beating him to the inside. That's a losing rep right there. Not a huge deal. Quarterback ends up kind of getting the ball out anyways. You're going to get a 2nd and 10 after that last incomplete pass. You're going to get a play action. They're going to try to design a screen. Doesn't work. Just kind of throw the ball away. And then you're going to end up in a 3rd and 10. You're going to get the defensive end to jump. What gets you in a 3rd and 5, and this was the final play that Caleb Williams was in the game. To me, you got to catch this pass if you're a Dunze. Absolutely have to make this. To me, this is a phenomenal pass by the quarterback. It's a good job by the offensive lineman. The running back does a great job stepping up. This is how you gain the trust of your quarterback, of your offensive coordinator. You got to be able to pass pro, right? And this is This is a really, really good job by 38 to step in there. Takes on the linebacker, does not get better than that right there. Just backing this up to the all-22 angle. You guys can keep an eye on the wide receiver at the top of your screen. You got to catch this right here, right? It's a good pass. It's away from the corner as well, right? The ball's going to be to the back shoulder. You got to be able to bring this one down, right? Hits you kind of right in the hands. I know he had to kind of lean, jump out a little bit to make the catch, but still, it was a pretty good job if you guys ask me. Keep an eye here on the right tackle. You're going to get a guy to drop off. You're simulating pressure. DN's going to drop off. One of these guys ends up coming. Keep an eye on Darnell Wright. As soon as he recognizes that, he's going to help Jonah Jackson. And just puts number 90 into the ground, man. That's a really, really good rep right there by Darnell Wright. And the offensive linemen do a nice job kind of keeping it clean. Braxton Jones, running back. Braxton Jones shuts his guy down. This is a really good job by Jones. Ends up being able to kind of take that defensive end on, shuts him down. It's a really, really good job. Generally speaking, I think the Bears look really good out there. The offensive line looks phenomenal in my opinion. Now, keep in mind, Joe Thuney was not out there, and he's arguably the best offensive lineman the Bears have. So their offensive line is going to be even better at some point. And as this unit kind of gets that experience, as they continue to develop over the course of this season, I think the Bears are going to be the real deal this season. You got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Poles for putting this roster together. The guy's made so many smart decisions over the years that we've kind of talked about. And he's officially landed that coach that can kind of put it together. And we're starting to see some of these flashes. If you're a Bears fan, you should be happy what's to kind of come this season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are going to be following the Chicago Bears on this channel this season. Let me know if there's a player you guys want me to kind of break down. Drop a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time with another video.